Good morning. We want to thank you all for coming today. We would like to introduce ourselves. I'm John Brezinski, Legislative District 8, representing Frankfurt, and I'm the Democratic Minority Leader. We asked you here today to announce an initiative we are proposing to the majority of the Herkimer County Legislature.
Thank you, Chairman. I'm Helen Rose, and I'm legislator from District 1, which represents the town and village of Herkimer.
I'm Gary Hartman. I represent District 1, which is the town of parts of Mohawk and parts of the village of Herkimer.
I just want to talk just a little bit in the very beginning here in regards to the committee assignments. I've been here for 32 years. I'll be 34 and then the end of this term here. I need to tell everyone here that back in the 80s, when I first came here, this body acted very professionally. The minorities, which would be the Democrats, every committee that was at that time, and there were several of them, there may be 7 or 8 of them here in this book, every one of these committees had a Democrat representing the Democratic Party on these committees, even though the Republicans were the majority here. We didn't ask or go to the chairman and ask, Mr. Chairman, I would like to sit on the Veterans Committee or the Finance Committee. It wasn't like that at all. They chose whoever they thought would be best suited for the committee. Like I was a veteran, so I sat on the Veterans Committee. They did this in regards to respect for one another. And that's the way it was back in the 80s. So from here, I'm gonna let everybody know, and everybody look at this book to see for themselves. This is back in this is the proceedings of the county legislature, County of Herkimer in 1980. And there's a picture of all of us in here. And this book here will show you, and I highlighted every single one of these names that's associated with these committees. And you'll see that every one of these committees have a Democrat sitting on this committee. So I'll pass this around and then you can take it from there. Thank you.
Thank you, John. As I said, I'm Helen Rose, and I represent the parts of the village and the town of Herkimer. And here in Herkimer County, the functions and accountability of county government is vested first in specific committees. The current rules of the Herkimer County Legislature provide that all resolutions be brought before the committee first and considered and voted out of the relevant committee. We currently have 10 committees, with each assigned certain departments that they oversee and areas that they control. So it should be clear to even the casual observer that considerable power is vested in certain committees, and membership on particular committees can facilitate the airing and promotion of particular views. There are 10 committees that control much of the functions of Herkimer County government. They include the Ways and Means, Public Safety, Human Resources, and that's really the oversight of human service functions, Planning and Development, Highways, Administration and Veterans, Properties, Education, Natural Resources, and Information Services. And not to pitch the contribution of any one of those committees, but I think I articulated them in the order of involvement and the order of effort. Information Services doesn't meet very often. Natural Resources controls the sewers and the environmental functions. And our rules empower the chairman of the legislature to appoint all committee members and committee chairs. There are 17 legislators, provide a resource that could allow workload to be distributed to ensure a shared effort and involvement of those elected. Unfortunately, newly elected Chairman Bono has chosen to use his authority on committee assignments to extract some sort of revenge against those who did not support his selection as chairman. Each of us here today have been placed on only one committee. Mr. Hartman and myself have been placed on the Information Services Committee. That's an appointment I held last year. Mr. Brezinski on Natural Resources. He was removed from the Administration and Veterans Committee, and you heard him say he is a veteran. For that matter, Mr. Schrader, the lone Republican, who's not here today because this is a request from the Democratic minority, but Mr. Schrader, the lone Republican who voted against Mr. Bono's appointment, was also only assigned to one committee. He was assigned to the Properties Committee. And our rules, of course, dictate that the Properties Committee must have a representative from Herkimer. So Mr. Schrader, I guess, drew that assignment, but his dissent cost him any other committee assignments. I have a list of committee assignments, and you'll notice that the other freshman legislator was appointed to 3, which has traditionally been the pattern for legislators, three committees, although we deviated from that in the last term. What are the results of the chairman's actions? He appears to have chosen to extract his revenge on the people of Herkimer and Frankfurt. Well over 10,000 citizens of Herkimer County reside in our 3 districts. If we added Mr. Schrader's, we'd be, what, 14,000, 15,000. There are 6,500 registered voters in our 3 districts. And in the November election, the 3 of us were chosen to represent them. Mr. Bono, in an attempt to punish those who dissent, has attempted, by the misuse of his authority, to exclude these citizens from their county government. It is not ethical, it is not productive, it is not wise. He appears to be reacting to a fear of dissent. By trying to silence any view but that which he embraces, he is cutting our county short. Sound decisions will come from a process that is thoughtful and inclusive. Good government will come with transparency and accountability. Sound decisions that are transparent will withstand the smell test. Herkimer County's committee structure was not set up to orchestrate a kumbaya session, but rather working groups to help ensure efficiencies and accountability of county government. Providing a forum for diverse opinions within those groups, contrary to what appears to be the chairman's view, may allow us to explore new solutions. The majority should not silence the voice of the minority. Our community loses, our county loses, we all lose when that happens. The majority has the votes to assert its will. Remaining open to ideas that might be different than yours does not make you weak. It helps to keep you informed. In December 2011, the clerk of our legislature forwarded to all legislators a draft of a resolution to be considered by the Administration and Veterans Committee. It was alarming in its detail of ways to silence the public and legislators who are not assigned to committees. It went so far as to dictate who should sit at the conference table in that room. While the author are unknown and the resolution was pulled before any formal discussion, it is nonetheless very alarming that people actually sat down and drafted a document with such diabolical goals. And it appears to be done in an attempt to make committee meetings more efficient and comments by citizens and members at our meeting of the legislature less argumentative. When you consider the actions of our new chairman, where he so plotted committee assignments to indulge his need for control and retribution, and couple that with the draft resolution to restrict dissent, we see red flags to open government and democratic principles in Herkimer County. This should not be a Republican or Democrat and who wins. This should be about a legislature that wants to do the people's work collectively and in the full view of the public it is elected to serve. This legislature has the ability to immediately right this wrong, and we call on them to do so. On Wednesday evening, we will propose that the legislature resolve itself into a committee of the whole, as allowed by our rules, for the purpose to amend our rules to require that every committee must contain at least one member of the minority party. Committees traditionally have had 7 members. Mr. Bono is a voting member on every committee. The appointment of one minority does not jeopardize the vote of the majority. It does not jeopardize the will of the majority. It just provides room at the table for a minority opinion. The first steps are for allowing the town and village of Herkimer a voice at that table. Remember, the 3 legislators that represent the village of Herkimer and the town and parts of the town of Herkimer have been excluded from most of the significant committees. And it will also give respect to the minority voters of our community. Committee assignments should represent workload distribution and not be viewed as token rewards for political affiliations. Mr. Hartman will now speak.
Good morning. It's good to see everyone this morning. I'm Gary Hartman. I'm Legislator, County District 1, representing parts of German Flats in Herkimer. I was very excited to attend my first meeting when they're sworn in here. And I was also encouraged by some of Chairman Bono's comments during the course of that meeting during his inaugural address. And what was most encouraging in that statement, he stated, "Welcome to our freshman senators, Mr. Johnston, Mr. Schrader, and Mr. Hartman. You now sit in a seat that makes you a representative of the people of Herkimer County. As an elected representative, we together, I emphasize together, will face challenges not as Democrats and Republicans, but as Americans united in a common cause. You will be involved in a democratic process that gives you the opportunity to make decisions for the greater good of Herkimer County's residents. You will be one of 17 equal votes." That was Mr. Bono's statement. Of course, when I got the committee assignments a few days later, I was much less encouraged to find out that I was named to one committee, and my senior members behind me with tremendous knowledge and experience were also named to one committee. And Herkimer is not being represented in the committee process, and other portions of the county are not being well served by the current committee assignments. However, I guarantee that I'm going to navigate the rules, and Herkimer and Mohawk will be represented. However, I support the initiative because much is done in the committees. I look forward to serving on the IT committee. I'm very interested in information technology and its benefits to efficiency and communication. I think communication is the key in this body. I look forward to delving deeper in the subject. However, I feel that I have much to offer other committees as well. In my 12 years of government service, I have built strong relationships with representatives and agency officials and their staffs, which have proved valuable to the Village of Herkimer residents and can be quite valuable to the committee process and county residents, as well as my town of German Flats constituents. I've also gained valuable experience and knowledge dealing with a host of matters that are similar to what the county will face in the future. I can use those assets to add to committee endeavors. I believe that I have a lot to offer. My constituents expressed that sentiment in November. I know that legislators Rose and Brezinski have a great deal to offer. The chairman's committee assignments are depriving the county of valuable knowledge, experience, and input. In the end, everyone's constituents lose. So I encourage my colleagues, Democrat and Republican, to restore the 1980 process of putting a minority member on each committee. And I also believe Mr. Schrader should not be punished by assignments either. Thank you.
You've heard our views. I hope that you can recognize the very importance to democracy, really, truly, to local government. You know, people will talk about the dysfunction in Albany and the dysfunction in Washington, but we have this in our backyard, and we do need to change it. And this legislative body and Mr. Bono have the opportunity to do that. So I am hopeful that tomorrow night, that we Democrats, as we pledge to work diligently on the many issues facing our county, we stand ready to work with all legislators, regardless of party, and to seek the best solutions. We look forward to tomorrow evening and the opportunity to set a new tone for Herkimer County government. We ask that Chairman Bono and our colleagues join us by supporting this initiative and moving Herkimer County forward. We are part of the solution. We are not the problem. The people have chosen us. They chose us last November. We represent a large constituency in Herkimer County. They don't deserve to be shut out. I, like Gary and John, will continue to lend my voice to open government. And we appeal to the citizens, to the media, to help us do that. You don't have to choose sides, you just have to hold us accountable. Thank you very much all for coming, and if there are any questions, we'd be more than willing to take them. Yes?
Do you think that you have the support come the meeting tomorrow night to get this passed?
Well, there were 4 votes against Mr. Bono's chairmanship. I would hope that those 4 votes, we are the ones that have been punished by that vote, punished for that vote, will certainly vote to amend the rules. It requires 9 votes, and I am hopeful that of 17 people in this room, there are 5 others that will recognize the very real importance of having a minority voice at the table. It's not going to change, they're not going to risk losing the decisiveness of their majority. The voters gave them that, and I respect that. But the voters also sent we minorities to this legislature, and I do believe that they deserve the right. So I am hopeful that we will appeal to them in a conciliatory tone, and that they will consider it this tomorrow evening. By doing it as a committee of a whole, we will all own it. Often resolutions come before a committee, and we don't get to vote on them in the legislative chambers until they pass the committee. The most expedient way is to resolve ourselves into the committee of the whole so that remedy can be immediate. And we're hoping that there will be enough voices of reason in the legislature to allow for that. Anything else? Yes.
To clarify for me, there is in the rules a statement that says the minority party should sit on.
No, there is no statement.
There is.
That's what we're going to be asking for tomorrow night, is to resolve ourselves into the committee of a whole so that the rules can be amended to allow that of the 10 committees, each committee will have 1 minority representative. And as I say, most committees have 7. There was one year, my first year here, where there was apparently an error and the Properties Committee appointed 7 people, but no one from Herkimer, and our rules did dictate that someone would be from Herkimer, so a Herkimer representative was added and that committee had 8. But I believe, at least in the most recent history, I'd have to count the ones in John's book, but there have been 7, and we have 10 committees. And attempts to modify the rules, I spoke to that, my concern that it was, the trial balloon was floated in December. We still don't know who did that or why it was done, but I'm concerned when I take it together, as I said in the initial statement, when you take that together with the actual committee assignments, it does give me and others a cause for concern.
Thank you.
Government needs to be open. Thank you for the question. Anyone else? Well, we want to thank you all for braving this weather and coming out today. We do appreciate it, and we appreciate your coverage of the issues that are important here in Herkimer County.